I'm sure a lot of you know about Heald Solicitors. I feel I ought to say a word or two. We're one of the original solicitors in Milton Keynes. We used to say that we were the longest established firm in central Milton Keynes, but we can't say that anymore because we've moved. We are still one of the longest established firms in Milton Keynes, we're just not in central anymore. We have nice new offices down in Bramley Road in Mount Farm, MK1, the hottest part of town, apart from this building, of course. We're a full-service legal practice. We do business law, company law, litigation. We work for SMEs and multinationals, variety of clients doing a variety of things. We even do private client work and have a notary. In recent years, we've wanted to concentrate on technology and software, businesses involved in technology. And we've been aided by a gentleman who is one of our partners now, who's not a lawyer. So we're quite unusual in that we've got a partner who comes from a completely different industry, and he's able to bring to us acumen concerning technological subjects, but also business as well. So that's another way in which we're slightly different. Anyway, what about inventions? Because I want to talk about inventions and intellectual property in broad terms. Milton Keynes has been a home of innovation in many respects, and I'm just going to whiz through some. I'm sure you're familiar with all of them. You've seen Colossus. First, diesel engine. I'm told by Kevin that heavy oil engine is a diesel engine. It was invented in Fenny Stratford, apparently. There are global brands. The motorist friend, WD-40. I'll say more about that in a minute, because that's quite interesting in terms of intellectual property. Obviously Jim Marshall and Marshall lamps. That's an invention, isn't it? That's technology. Of course the car's packed with technology. My colleagues have picked out a couple of interesting ones. Ceravision, great inventors of lighting technology, now world famous, and Expandly, integrating e-commerce systems. So there's lots of technology in Milton Keynes. I won't read this. We're all fans of Milton Keynes. We all know the advantages of being here rather than somewhere else. Fantastic statistics which make Milton Keynes a great place. So what's going to stop us exploiting our ideas and making plenty of money? Well, the big problem is theft. Theft is perhaps an emotive word. Copying perhaps would be better. People copy ideas, copy inventions, copy patents, copy trademarks and so on. I don't normally operate in this league. Dyson's a big company, Samsung's an even bigger company. But you can see here, it's copying, isn't it? Dyson had an idea, Samsung copied it. Luckily, they had the resources to take them to court. This is an interesting story. It's a few years old now, but I really love it. Some characters in China set up fake Apple stores. Apparently there were 22 of them at the time. And I know anecdotally people think that China's a home of copying. If you've got an idea, they'll rip it off. And in this case, I think it was particularly interesting that the Chinese authorities wanted to stamp on it because it was their consumers who were being deceived. Big problem. I don't know how they calculated this, but it's a frightening amount of money. The government and a company called Detica, I don't know them, worked out that there's a huge loss of money due to theft of intellectual property. So what can we do? What can we do as businesses? We may not be operating in the heights of Dyson and Samsung and Apple, but it's a problem that we all might face, and we all have to deal with it. What I say to people when they come and see me is, get it right at the beginning. Start off on the right foot. Take your steps early. Give yourself a chance later on. This is a sort of a slide. I'm not going to go through it because it'd be a bit boring, but you can see it's a sort of an overview, an infogram of all the different kinds of ways of protecting intellectual property. The trouble with English law, it is a bit like that. They're sort of like lily pads, aren't they? You hop from one to another. There isn't really an integrated system. There are different categories, and you've got to be careful about what category you're talking about. Otherwise it gets very confusing. Is it copyright? Is it trademarks? They don't really integrate very well. But that's the system we've got, so we have to make the best of it. Patents are a good one. We've all heard of patents. They protect a novel invention which has got an economic or commercial benefit. These guys are, if you like, at the top of the game. They've got these 575 patents, 190 granted. They've got a portfolio of patents. They even fought a case against an American company. But patents are available to all of us. Anybody who's got an invention should consider having it patented. One area that's particularly interesting is software. The general view on the street is you can't patent software. You can actually if it is associated with a process. Most of the software that gets patented is normally associated with a device of some sort. It might be eco-controls or telephones or computers, because it'll have a technical effect. It'll have an outcome that has an economic benefit or some sort of technical effect. So if your software is doing something to a device or a manufacturing process or whatever it is, you can get it patented. Most basic thing you can do is claim ownership of your IP. Just claim that you own it. When you start out, it's amazing how many people don't really do their research at the beginning. I mean, I had a case once where somebody had started the business, they were 10 months, 12 months down the line, they'd got their brochures and their livery and their logo, and then somebody popped up, solicitor's letter, your logo is like ours, what are you doing, you can't do this, and you know, nightmare, all that money they'd spent on it, because they hadn't done the research properly. So get your logo sorted out and your brand, and then do your research. Do your research online. You can do research at the Trademark Registry at the Intellectual Property Office. Check it all out. Company names, a simple one. You can pretty much have a company name that says anything. There are some words that you can't use. But basically, you can have any kind of permutation of your name. Well, do your research. Make sure you can get the company name that you want, that supports your brand, and then get your domain names. It's another area where people often get it wrong. They don't secure the domain name that they need, and they go down a blind alley and find that they can't get the domain name they need. You can get it all planned out at the beginning. Confidentiality is very important. I will come on to that because I think it's underused. And then look at your business from, if you like, the outside looking in. Look at your processes internally. There are things you can do. First of all, identify who owns the IP. It's another one that catches people out. Amazingly, they find that they don't actually own the IP that they think they do. For example, it was created by a contractor, for example. They had an independent contractor who came and did the work, and then they found they didn't own it because the independent contractor owned it. And they hadn't really thought it all through and worked out how they could make sure that what the independent contractor did was assigned to them, and so that they actually owned it. You can do things with your employment contracts and your director service agreements. You can make sure that there are some restrictions. The restrictions have to be reasonable, but there's something that you can do if you plan ahead. Maintaining secrets. This is one I'm really, really keen on. In a way, it's nothing to do with the law, actually. It's about practicalities. Interesting little bit of information about Dyson. I didn't know this. It was someone showed it to me. They basically got high security. There's no other way of calling it. There's high security. They're even prevented from taking devices in where they might be able to copy something and leave the building. That's really strict, isn't it? But that's a practical thing. It's not really law, is it? Bottom one's interesting. Have you ever heard of bring your own device? This problem of people bringing devices into your company. I was talking to Mike about it earlier, people sending emails home, using private laptops, private phones, that sort of thing. That's leaky, isn't it? That's a physical security that you can take control of to prevent your ideas being removed from your business. And your policies and contracts as well with your staff. I mentioned WD-40. Apparently only 6 people know the recipe to it. It's a chemical recipe, isn't it? It's a bit like Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know, it's a Coke or Coke, yes, that's right, yeah. That's just secrecy, isn't it? NDAs, I meant to mention NDAs. It's horrible American jargon, non-disclosure agreements, confidentiality agreements. If you are looking for investors or partners or people to work with, make sure you get them to sign NDAs, because ideas actually can't be protected. You know, I talked about the lily pads, the different categories of law. There isn't actually a category for ideas. If you've got an idea, somebody can nick the idea, because there's no property in an idea. If you make them sign an NDA, then there's a contract that says they have to keep it secret. So I'm a real fan of NDAs because it gives you the flexibility to talk to potential partners, somebody who might be manufacturing something for you, somebody who might be investing in your business. You don't want them to take your idea because then they can run with it. So NDAs, big fan of NDAs. There are other tips on our website. We've got some videos there. We call it the Heald Law Academy. Just go to our website and click in the top right-hand corner, and there's lots of introductions to various subjects. If you're interested, we'd love you to sign up and become a subscriber to it. It doesn't cost you anything. We'll send you updates. There is a sheet on your chair. If you're interested, please fill in your details and hand it to me or John at the back. Completely free resource. We have an event on the 23rd of March as well, which we'd love you to be able to come to.